How did two people go from having a relationship like this
Could you, pretty please with sugar on top, help me study so that I don't fail spectacularly?
to having one like this? I guess that's why they say enemies to lovers. But today, I'm saying everything about Amazon's hit show Off Campus. We're gonna be looking at this love story from start to finish. Well, the first season anyway. Starting with the first episode, The Deal. The show basically centers on a group of hockey players at Briar University as they try and navigate, the complexities of early adulthood, usually around relationships. And talk of the devil, the series actually opens on the meet cute to end all meet cutes, where Hannah Wells accidentally walks straight into star hockey player and captain Garrett Graham in the showers.
You looking for someone?
No,
I guess you could say she got an eyeful of a whole lot more than she bargained for. Like any normal person, Hannah races right out of there. By the way, I think it's worth noting that Hannah isn't a hockey player. She's at Briar majoring in music. If anything, she's actually not that into hockey. But as Paula Abdul once said, opposites attract. Anyway, the next day in philosophy class, Hannah overhears Garrett and his teammate Bo Maxwell groaning about the lousy grades they pulled on their latest papers, right as she gets hers handed back with the top class score. After seeing her hit a huge grade, Garrett chases her down after class, begging for some tutoring. But I guess the embarrassment of the shower situation gets the better of her as she turns it down. Garrett is the golden boy, by the way, and that usually means he gets what he wants. So the fact Hannah's turned him down is interesting. Despite her good grades though, Hannah's dealt a pretty heavy hand when her music professor tells her that there's going to be no scholarship on offer this year due to budget cuts, which means she might have to leave Briar altogether. If only there was a way to make money. Like, say, tutoring? Garrett needs grades to stay in school and on the hockey team, and Hannah needs cash. It's almost like the universe is secretly willing them together, and Garrett's got a big idea that'll sweeten the deal. He knows that Hannah has a crush on another music student called Justin Cole, so while she's tutoring Garrett, the pair can pretend to be an item to make Justin jealous. With her scholarship gone, she doesn't have a lot of options, so she reluctantly shakes on it and makes the deal. So, just like that, a fake romance is born and the wheels are set for everyone to win. I gotta point out as well, Garrett cannot get Justin's name right. The guy calls him Jacob every time he mentions him. Episode 2 begins with Hannah and Garrett sitting down at Malone's, the hockey team's regular bar, to hammer out the ground rules of their fake romance, alongside an actual tutoring schedule. Garrett insists they'll need to, show real affection in public to land themselves on fifth line. The campus gossip page run by the potential Briar hockey captain, John Logan's little sister, Jules Logan. Because if the whole school doesn't believe it, Justin never will. He lays out his master plan in 3 neat phases. Go public and shove the relationship in everyone's face, then stage a dramatic breakup, leaving heartbroken Hannah for Justin to comfort and swoop in on. What could possibly go wrong with a plan like that? Well, we'll see. The gang heads off to the Hawks' first away game, which they win, and the celebration spills over into a rowdy party afterward. Forced to share a room for the night, Hannah and Garrett squabble over who gets the bed until she notices the nasty bruises scattered across his body. Before insisting, he takes it. It reads as ordinary hockey wear and tear for now, but file those bruises away, because the show absolutely wants you to and will be coming back to them later. Anyway, they compromise on sleeping on the floor and end up curled together scrolling through Justin's videos on Hannah's laptop, where she opens up about how badly she's been struggling to write her own lyrics. See, things aren't hunky-dory even for a straight-A student. They drift off to sleep side by side, which is a lot of suspiciously cozy behavior for two people who definitely, absolutely, are not catching feelings. I think you guys can see where I'm going with that. And the bus ride home might be proof that things aren't 100% an act. So he sees her laughing with the guy he's trying to get Hannah with, and he's jealous. Way to go, Garrett. You've gone and caught feelings. Now, the next episode has a pretty wild title. It's called The and let's just say it earns its title. But before we reach that, there's some good news. Hannah's tutoring pays off, and Garrett bags the grade he needs to keep playing, meaning half the deal is officially done. The other half is Justin. But instead of helping her with him, Garrett tells her not to text him and instead sweeps her and her best friend Allie Hayes off to karaoke night at Malone's. Hannah refuses at first, admitting she won't drink in public because she likes to stay on guard. Only when Garrett promises to watch over Allie and guard their drinks with his life does she finally let herself relax. I guess like with Garrett's bruises, this is the show planting seeds about stuff that's happened in Hannah's past. Freed from having to keep her guard up, Hannah experiments until she finds her drink, then storms the stage with a fearless, flirty rendition of Cherry Pie.
She's my cherry pie.
I can see why she chose to major in music. On the way home, Allie realizes she left her purse and their keys at the now-closed bar. So Garrett takes the girls back to his place, tucks a drunk Allie safely on the couch, and follows the trail of clothes Hannah left up the stairs to find her waiting in nothing but his jersey. She tries to take things further, but Garrett gently shuts it down because she's been drinking. And even though he's got this big jock persona, he's a gentleman at heart and he never stoops so low. But the real gut punch comes the next morning. A sober Hannah makes Garrett coffee, waits until he's fully awake, and asks for one final favor that she has never asked anyone. Well, there's no easy way to say this. She wants him to help her have an before she sleeps with Justin. And then she thrusts him with the thing she's told no one at Briar, not even Allie. Back in high school, she was sadly drugged and essayed. She's quick to say she's had a good therapist and she is not fragile, but while she can finish on her own, she has never been able to with a partner, and she's hoping that doing it with a friend she trusts might quiet her nerves. Now, while that's sweet, it's also something a little strange too, especially because Garrett has feelings for her. Which leads us into the next episode, The Breakup, where Garrett is pretty understandably confused by the whole thing, so he goes to his housemate, Dean Hayward De Laurentiis, because he doesn't come clean to Dean about why Hannah needs his help, so Dean assumes she must be a virgin and coaches him on the basics that actually matter. You know, trust, take it slow, that type of thing. Anyway, when the big moment arrives, Garrett handles Hannah with care, even making sure she picks the music so everything is as comfortable as possible. Clearly it's working because she picks Baby Now That I Found You, and they just sort of melt into each other. See, I'd say they work pretty well together, but obviously the good times aren't gonna last, and when things spice up, Hannah has a panic attack. Garrett again handles it like a champ and lets her go at her own pace. Meanwhile, Allie ends things with her boyfriend Sean McCall after raining on her acting dreams, assuming she'll simply follow him to Vermont, where he's lined up to work for his father's insurance company. John, meanwhile, is quietly nursing a crush on Hannah, and Jules warns him to let go for the sake of his NHL future. Back in the room with our main two, though, Garrett's growing feelings keep getting you-know-what blocked by reality. Because anytime those two get close, the moment is ruined by his phone lighting up with snaps from adoring fangirls. Man, it'd be nice to be that guy. Well, I'd hold off on wanting to be him for a sec because his world comes crashing down when Allie puts on a drunken Shakespeare show. Justin comes along and finally tells Hannah he wants to ask her out. Garrett's obviously gutted and he slips off for a lonely late night skate. And that's when Hannah realizes the truth. Justin was always a safe fantasy, and the person she actually wants is the one on the ice. She tracks Garrett down, climbs up to the rink's broadcast booth with her keyboard, and serenades him with Baby Now That I Found You. He hears her, sprints up the steps, and the episode leaves them standing face to face. As we move into episode 5 off the back of that cliffhanger, the cold turkey is where Hannah and Garrett finally make it official with a kiss. I guess that kills the just friends and pretending thing they were going for. They're properly together now, sleeping together, and Hannah even becomes a regular at his games, which is a sentence nobody on Earth would have believed back in episode 1, because she hated hockey. Anyway, Garrett's father Phil texts out of the blue and guilts him into Thanksgiving dinner, swearing up and down that he's a changed man and that his new girlfriend Cindy is dying to meet his son. Garrett reluctantly agrees, with Hannah by his side and a promise that they can head out as soon as he gives the signal that he wants to leave. You know, like a shared look or a head bob, that sort of thing. Anyway, things do get a little dark here now though. While poking around the house, Hannah finds a hole punched into the wall of Garrett's childhood bedroom, and suddenly all those hockey bruises from earlier take on a much grimmer shape. It turns out his dad was also a hockey player, but he terrorized Garrett and his late mom for years. Hannah realized that Garrett's probably terrified that somewhere inside him, the same poison that's in his dad is in him. After seeing bruises on Cindy's arms, Garrett knows things haven't changed with his dad and gives Hannah the signal to get the hell out of there. They end up eating sad, cold sandwiches at Malone's, and Hannah quietly hands him an old photo of his mother that she rescued from his old room, which might seem small, but you've gotta think it meant the world to him. Now the next episode, The Breakaway, does some important filling in for us. Do you guys remember when Allie lost her and Hannah's keys on that karaoke night? Well, while Garrett was dealing with Hannah, Dean and Allie were getting to know each other too. Out on the porch, the drunken pair talk about all sorts of things like how Allie wants the same love that her parents had. You know, the way her dad would stand by her mom without having to give up her own acting dreams to get it. Sean doesn't do much but listen, and that's kind of what she needs. It works too, because he puts his number in her phone for when her and Sean break up. She saves him as do not call, which weirdly is the same contact that she phones during her Shakespeare night. It turns out it's not just Dean either. There's been a whole bunch of secret hookups, and we also get to see what she got up to while Hannah and Garrett were away on Thanksgiving. She carpooled with Dean as well as Beau, and Beau just happens to be the brother of Joanna Maxwell, the up-and-coming actress Allie idolizes. Allie and Beau, two theater geeks, hit it off instantly and sing the whole way back to Dean's place for Thanksgiving. Obviously, things with Sean hadn't ended by this point, so she's not exactly feeling good about herself. Back in the present, Logan throws a fundraiser at Malone's for the youth hockey program that once let him play when his family couldn't afford the ice time. Not knowing the first thing about the abuse, he asks Garrett's dad for a donation, scoring box seats and a meet and greet that quietly guts Garrett and opens the first real rift in their friendship. Justin blindsides Hannah by performing her unfinished showcase song at the party. She admits to him it just isn't working, and their creative partnership ends like a breakup, leaving her 2 short weeks to write something that actually sounds like her. While discussing her song with Garrett though, the two lovebirds finally pull out the LY card.
I love you, Elsie.
Now, that might be all gooey and gushy and nice, but we're about to get hit with a gut punch when Hannah realizes that Aaron Delaney, the guy who essayed her, is playing for the rival team Garrett faces tomorrow. And instead of telling him about it, she just walks away, kinda souring the moment after finally saying they love each other. I mean, I don't blame her, but she spent all this time opening up to Garrett. I think he'd handle it well if she told him. Going straight into episode 7, Hannah is still reeling from finding out about Aaron being at the game tomorrow. She shuts herself in her dorm and relives the whole thing that happened between them. Obviously, she's not thinking straight, and to make matters worse, she pulls out of her pop showcase even though she's got time to put something together. Her teacher David is quick to remind her though that letting people into her truth can be a healing thing rather than a dangerous one, and maybe she should use music as a vehicle for, doing that. That pep talk is enough to bring her back to her senses, and she realizes she needs to be at that game for Garrett no matter what. And to be fair to her, she races there as quick as she could, managing to sneak some time with him before he has to go out. The Hawks are battling rival school St. Anthony's with a top spot on the line, and their fearsome new center is none other than Aaron. For most of the night, Garrett has no idea who he's really looking at, and he plays terribly, hogging the puck and clashing with Logan until Hannah's presence in the stands settles him down, and the team claws its way back into the game. Then, early in the 3rd period, Delaney spots Hannah, and at a face-off he leans in and says this.
Beating you in front of that lying
Garrett instantly realizes who he is and what he's done. He rips off Delaney's helmet and unloads on him, throwing punch after punch as a horrified Hannah watches, until Logan is the one to drag him off and hold him together. Thanks to that fight, Garrett is banned for 4 games, and in maybe the most chilling part of it, his dad turns up to congratulate him on the brawl. Remember, he's terrified he's gonna be anything like his old man. And that anger that came out at him then is something that he's tried keeping inside for years. Hannah understands why he did what he did, but at the same time, the fact he's such a loose cannon also scares her. Like, he risked everything in that one moment, and after speaking to his dad, he's not in a good place. So what he actually hears Hannah say is that she's afraid of him. So to protect her, he ends things. Like, they're over. Now, that's some way to go into your final episode of the series, alright? I'm on the edge of my seat here. The last episode picks up from where we left off, in the wreckage of that breakup, with Hannah and Garrett awkwardly having to deal with still being in each other's day-to-day thanks to the university. Hannah starts to notice the guys at Briar are suddenly treating her strangely, and learns it's down to a rumor that Garrett put out a campus-wide hands-off policy on her. So she storms into the team's locker room to have it out with him. But Garrett swears he never do that and it's just a big misunderstanding. Of course, she can be with anyone she wants. Now that should be a relief, right? Well, the look on her face says otherwise, because some part of her wanted him to still be fighting for her. Speaking of fighting, the NCAA reviews the Delaney fight, and Garrett obviously admits to being at fault. But that's not the big problem. It's the fact that on his social media, he's got a video of him skating with the Boston Bruins. Why is that bad? Well, the NCAA rules specify that you have to be an amateur to play, and seeing as he's skating with a pro team, he's not an amateur. So technically, Briar fielded an illegal player, which doesn't just wipe out the last game, it wipes out every game from the record books that Garrett has played in. While Garrett's digesting that, I'll also give you guys an update on the Allie and Dean situation. Basically, they agree to sort of lower the stakes of whatever is going on between them by seeing other people. The problem is, like Garrett earlier, Dean's accidentally caught full-blown feelings and he realizes he's gotta tell Allie. But not right now. I guess that's a season 2 problem. Garrett, on the other hand, re-watches the game footage and sees clearly that it was Logan who pulled him off Delaney and held him together. So he goes home, thanks his friend, and opens up to him about his father, the secret he'd only ever trusted with Hannah. He spends his suspension skating alone, wrestling with whether he even loves the game anymore. At the next pre-game talk, he admits he let the team down and gives Logan a pretty special reward for all of his hard work. Yep, the captain's armband. And thanks to that, the boys go out and win while Hannah is busy finishing up her song. And it sounds exactly as she hoped it would, performing it brilliantly at the showcase and scooping up second prize. Garrett is waiting for her outside the auditorium afterward, and the two of them finally find their way back to each other, sealing it with, well, this. Jeez, Garrett, let the poor girl breathe. Well, I guess they both have had a lot on their plate. Sadly though, that's where off-campus leaves us. Will Hannah and Garrett get back together officially? Will Allie and Dean admit their feelings? Will Garrett ever get Justin Cole's name right? I guess you gotta tune in for season 2 to find out. If you've enjoyed this video, then why not click on the one that's popping up on the screen right now? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you over there.